November 21st, guys, 2024. This is Marcel with the Canadian Journalist, formerly Ernie Racing News. I predicted it. We talked about it for the last 3 videos. The US instigated, allowed, handled, and fired US ATACMS missiles and French cruise missiles and British cruise missiles into Russia. They enabled, allowed, and actually executed it because the Ukrainians don't have the ability to launch the ATACMS missiles at Russia. They don't have the ability to shoot the missiles. So the US personnel have directly entered the conflict. It's not a proxy war, with quotations around it anymore. Now it's a full direct fight. The US personnel organized, executed, and pushed the button to fire missiles into Russia. Exactly breaking the red line about the nuclear conduct code that Russia's had into place for a long time, and they emphasized exactly what the code is if a nuclear power such as the USA is in conjunction with a non-nuclear power such as Ukraine, if the US is allowing, enabling, and executing the firing of these missiles, they are breaking the red line of the nuclear code doctrine. And guess what? All of a sudden, today is today and yesterday is yesterday, and they did it. Russia fired it. And so they fired the missiles. And if you just go in, essentially, US official says Russia briefed them ahead of time. Before that, Ukraine fired Western weapons into Russia this week, executed by actual US personnel on a 33-month-old war. And so Russia briefed them ahead of time that he is going to attack back. So he fired a hypersonic intermediate range ballistic missile into Ukraine. Essentially, what's next? What is next Putin he knows there's 2 months left of the NeoCons, the communist NeoCons in the USA. There's 2 months left of the Biden administration before they're out. And they're doing everything to kind of instigate and lock in a war where even Trump can't do nothing. He can't do peace. They're trying to make it impossible for peace. So the military-industrial complex, the $15 trillion industry per year, the biggest industry in the world per year, annually, every year, is going to continue and continue and continue to make the neocons, the bankers, lending money to the U.S., the fake money system, fractional banking, the Jewish banker system that is brought on from how long ago. And if you do your research, you'll know how that all came on. Fractional banking on, I have some gold in my account, I have some money in my account, and I'm going to lend out 10 times that. And essentially, there is no real money anymore and just printing. So let's read this story on Reuters. Of course, Reuters is U.S. propaganda as well, but they still have to put the story out in some capacity. So Kiev, November 21st, today, Russia fired hypersonic intermediate-range ballistic missile at the city of Dnipro on Thursday in response to the US and UK allowing Kyiv to strike Russian territory with advanced Western weapons in a further escalation of the 33-month-old war. Russian President Putin, in a televised address, said Moscow struck a Ukrainian military facility with a new ballistic missile known as Orishnik, the Hazel, and warned that more could follow. A regional conflict in Ukraine previously provoked by the West has acquired elements of a global character, Putin said in an address to the nation carried by state television after 8 p.m. Moscow time. A U.S. official said that Washington was pre-notified by Russia shortly before its strike, while another said they had briefed Kiev and other close allies in recent days to prepare for the possible use of such a weapon. So crazy, huh? Like, what little game of chess that the U.S. is playing with Putin. Earlier on Thursday, Kiev said that Russia had fired an Intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, a weapon designed for long-range nuclear strikes and never before used in war, though U.S. officials said it was an intermediate-range ballistic missile that has a smaller range. Regardless of its classification, the latest strike highlighted rapidly rising tensions in the past several days. On a sidebar, I guess what it's showing is it's like, here's a missile that could have a nuclear warhead on it, and we are able to fire it and land on target, versus the ballistic missiles the U.S. instigated and operated out of Ukraine and shot into Russia. Well, he was able, I think there was 7 of the 8 did not make a landing. They were removed in the air for their counter-offensive missile systems. So Russia has such, they're so good at what they do with this war program that they are able to counter the missiles and prevent them from actually hitting target, while Ukraine doesn't have a chance. And what about the U.S. if that goes to the max escalation, where the U.S. is going to fire upon the nations such as the U.S. that is instigating all of this? There's no more proxy war, and they've been warned and warned and warned. The U.S. sets up missile bases all around Russia. They've been warned. They instigated a coup in 2014, the Maidan coup, to put their puppet regime in there who was against Russia, taking out the sitting elected president, in Ukraine before that, who was friendly to Russians, because, a large percentage of Ukraine is Russians. For the people that don't know, the whole freaking West is Russians. And then the Easterns made it illegal for the Western Russians to speak the Russian language who live in Ukraine since the Soviet Union was disbanded. They have their church, the Russian Orthodox Church. They banned it all, and they have bombed the people in Donetsk for years, killing tens of thousands of people. That is truly exactly genocide by the Ukraine against these Western Ukrainian Russian people. On and on and on. So, Ukraine fired US and British missiles at targets inside Russia this week, despite warnings by Moscow that it would see such action as a major escalation. Today, there was a new Russian missile. All the characteristics, speed, altitude, are of an intercontinental ballistic missile. An expert investigation is currently underway, end quote. Ukrainian President Zelensky said in a video statement, oh, this is wonderful. Ukraine's foreign minister urged the international community to react swiftly to the use of what it said was the use by Russia with a new type of weaponry. The U.S. official speaking on condition of anonymity said Russia likely possesses a handful of this experimental intermediate-range ballistic missiles used on Thursday's strike. Ukraine Air Force said the missile targeted Dnipro in central eastern Ukraine and was fired from the Russian region of Astrakhan, more than 700 kilometers or 435 miles away. It did not specify what kind of warhead the missile had and what type of missile it was. There was no suggestion it was nuclear armed. Let's see what else we can find. So I'm on searching here. Ukraine claims Russia fired intercontinental missile on The Guardian. It was 8 hours ago. It confirmed firing of weapon would make the first missile. Sorry, here on The Guardian. I think The Guardian's woke, but I can't quite remember. Usually they all are, except for the small dudes. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia fired the missile at the city, which confirmed it would be used, which would be the first time the long-range weapon has been used. The claim was not immediately accepted by others. However, ABC News reported, citing Western officials, that this was an exaggeration and that the weapon was in fact a shorter-range ballistic missile, similar to the types used repeated by Russia against Ukraine during the war. Oh, ABC. Huh. ABC, you guys haven't been lying lately, like a lot, about everything. Oh, no, you didn't screw up some presidential debate. They confirmed that the missile probably traveled around 500 miles, 800 kilometers to reach its target. The missile was said to have hit, quote, without consequences, end quote, the Air Force said, though it added that information about victims had yet to be received. 6 of the 9 projectiles were destroyed by air defense, the Air Force said in the morning update. This is talking about the ones that were fired. I kind of got confused if this was talking about the missiles from yesterday fired on Russia, but it says 6 of the 9 projectiles were destroyed by air defenses, the Air Force said in a morning update. Well, I don't actually believe that, considering the Ukraine is just a joke and the U.S. is a joke at defense, at air defense. But we'll see as time goes on. Let's go find the independent news, guys, on the underground stuff. I'm still searching.
В рамках предстоящего мероприятия.
Oh, well, first starting on X, because I kind of always forget to go to X because I'm just so used to it in the past. Normally I would go other sources for information, but some great posts here to start with. If you're wondering who authorized Ukraine to fire missiles into Russia to kick off World War III, it was these Jews. There's Anthony Blinken, and why would Joe Biden allow Ukraine to fire American-made long-range missiles into Russia, knowing that this is Putin's nuclear red line? He's risking World War III with just 62 days left in office. This is impeachable, yes. Here's a shot. Boom. Boom. Whoa. From another angle. Raining hell down on you. Whoa. What's going on here? Oh yes, I remember looking at overland vehicles, and I came across these guys. This is how they carry the missiles. Massive, massive truck. I've shown this before in stories in the past, but here they are, how they move around. There's a missile. Intercontinental ballistic missile. Here's the people talking, guys. Do they understand now that Putin is not bluffing? This could be Berlin, Paris, Washington, London if their clown leaders keep on provoking Russia. Absolutely. I'm sure they'd hit the woke cities. So if you're not woke, you better get out of those cities. This is one of the most serious nuclear timings that on Earth, like where the nuclear clock is freaking at 99 or whatever it's at 11:59 p.m. I can't remember how that one works. If you thought the Cuban Missile Crisis was a big event, with the blockades of the boats, like this is way bigger than that. Like the nuclear capabilities are huge now. Russia doesn't even need to have like missile silos in Mexico right next door, like the US is surrounding Russia with all their missile bases, which instigated all of this in the first place. They crossed the red line of that a long time ago. You're not supposed to move 1 inch further as opposed to their accord back in the day. This is not a video game, you stupid NeoCons trying to ruin our world on purpose. This is so stupid crazy. The Biden NeoCons. It's not Biden making this decision. He's just the puppet. The same as Kamala was just a puppet. They're just a joke of puppets. Just like the puppet they put in with Zelensky. And it all instigated with their coup in the Maidan coup.
Up to 190 miles into the territory of Russia that's never been authorized before. These are U.S. weapons that are now authorized to go directly against Russia. And then also what Lloyd Austin was just saying there about the anti-personnel mines, those have never been given over there, and those are very, very dangerous. Once again, that's a major escalation. So if true, this ICBM that was launched for the first time against Ukraine, this would mean a major escalation, really a response to the provocation that the Biden administration is doing in the last throes. We got
2 months going in this administration. Like, frick, here it is, just on Fox. Okay, guys, we're going to end this news brief here. Let's keep fingers crossed that the U.S. does not do any more stupid shit. I mean, it's not stupid. I mean, it's stupid, but they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to get us locked into the military-industrial complex during the Trumps now taking office in 2 months. They're trying to lock it down so Americans are killed, and then, people all of a sudden, just like 9/11, we want to go to war. Just like Pearl Harbor, now we want to go to war. You got to hit them in their hearts. The U.S. needs to be attacked for them to want to enter a war, right? Because most people don't understand what led to it all. And so, thank God he's been in office for like 40 years, and he is, his opposition in Russia, they actually want to take out Putin because they think he's too soft, because he's not striking hard, right? It's the opposite. So he's got to also, prevent himself from getting booted, a coup against him, because he's being so soft on this whole situation. But it's also so great for us because he is not, strong arming and making these terrible decisions when there's only 2 months left of Biden. So he's got to just hang on somehow and keep all the missiles at bay. Ernie Racing News, Canadian journalist. Like, subscribe, share, guys. Cheers.